Applications of reflection of sound. We have seen in the earlier topic that for the reverberations, we use to avoid reverberations in the concert halls and auditoriums. We use soft absorbing material to cover the walls and roof so that the sound doesn't get disturbed. The original sound doesn't get disturbed. But whereas, on the other hand, we do have applications of reflection of sound. In what way? When you want to reach to the larger audience, or when you want to magnify the smaller sound like heartbeat, we use this reflection of sound principle. So let us see some examples to understand this better. The first application is megaphone. In megaphone, what happens? There is a person, he is speaking into a megaphone. The megaphone generally has two sides. The one which is closer to the person, the speaker, is a narrow one, and the one away from the speaker is the larger surface. So what happens in this case is the sound waves at narrow end are prevented by successive reflections by wider end. So when the sound wave goes through this narrow end to the wider end, when it comes back, so it gets reflected. So there is a successive reflections by the wider end. This megaphone works on the principle of multiple reflection of sound. So basically what happens in this megaphone, this principle is used in many of the musical instruments like shehnais and trumpets, etc. Is that because of this narrow opening at the source side, it helps in sending the sound, most of the sound waves get reflected and go in the forward direction towards the audience. So most of the sound wave is used. Most of the sound wave gets reflected and goes in the forward direction towards the audience. So that is the reason why megaphone is used. So the conical opening reflects the sound successively to guide most of the sound waves from the source in forward direction. Forward direction is towards the audience. It doesn't come back. So this multiple reflection helps here in reaching to the audience in a much better way. In the same way, you have a bulb horn and you have a stethoscope. Let's see how in the stethoscope this reflection of sound is used. So the stethoscope is a medical instrument. This is used for listening of sounds in the human body, produced within the body like heartbeat. How this reflection of sound works in stethoscope? See, in stethoscopes what happens? The sounds of the patient's heart, let us say this stethoscope's chest piece is put on the patient's chest and the earpieces are put into the doctor's ears. Then what he hears is, due to the multiple reflection of sound, he hears the heartbeat. How it travels the heartbeat? The multiple reflections of the sound takes place in this rubber tube. So the heartbeat, when this chest piece is on the heart of the patient, and that sound is sensed by this, and this diaphragm amplifies the sound. So diaphragm's basic job is basically amplifying the sound. Then with this amplification, the sound gets reflected within the walls of the rubber tube and then reaches the earpieces. So basically in stethoscope, the sound of the patient's heartbeat reaches the doctor's ears by multiple reflection of sound. that happens in the rubber tube. So in the similar manner, we have one more application, which is very important application, which is used in concert halls and auditoriums and cinema halls, conference halls, and etc., which is called a soundboard. Used in concert halls and cinema halls, wherever the audio is very, very important for the audience, and conference halls. What does this soundboard do? Basically, in all these halls, if you notice, for the sound to reach the corners of the halls so that every person in the audience can hear the sound or the audio that is going on in the movie or in the speech, these hall ceilings are curved in nature. That is one thing we notice, that is the ceiling is curved in nature. Other way, if the ceiling is flat, then what they use is, they use a curved soundboard. Curved soundboard is placed behind the stage or behind the source of sound. Best is, of course, to use the ceiling curved. If not, then they use a curved soundboard behind the source of the sound. What happens basically? There will be a multiple reflections that takes place from this soundboard, and which will ensure that the sound reaches the audience in every corner of the big hall. So the main benefit of this soundboard is the sound reaches all corners of the hall. So the benefit of this is sound reaches all corners of the hall. How? Due to multiple reflection of sound. If you take, for example, a concert hall, let's say concert hall is like this. So you will have a curved ceiling. So this is a curved ceiling. So what happens if the sound is going from here? Let us say sound goes like this. Then this sound goes and hits the walls. And when it hits, then it will reflect back. So it will go in different direction and reaches the audience at who are sitting in this area. Let's say the audience are sitting in this area. Then the sound reaches them. So this is what is curved ceiling effect. So instead of the curved ceiling, we can have a soundboard, something like this. And then there's a source of sound here. And the sound is traveling from here to the soundboard. It is hitting. Then what happens? It is getting reflected back. Now if the audience are sitting somewhere far away, they will be able to hear the sound at different places. So this is the soundboard used in big halls. So whether it is soundboard or it is a curved ceiling, what happens is they use multiple reflection of sound, and then every person in the audience can hear what is being said. So these are the applications of reflection of sound.